Dare I say, this might be Jujutsu Kaisen's best fight to date, which is saying a hell of a lot, and I'm sure there will be other fights that will top this for me. Whether this season, next season, they're gonna pop up, and not to discredit past fights, but I gotta admit, man, Choco versus Sukuna was clean. I rewatched it after I finished doing my live reaction for the episode, and I'm even more impressed the second time around, especially when I can freeze frame and just look at these moments. And just the thing that really gets me about this fight is, of course, knowing Sukuna be built different, but when you look at up until Joga popped up and kind of, well, turned everyone into charcoal, I think it was very easy to look at his character as a entertaining one, cool character design, volcano head, and yeah, you assume could pack a punch, but a lot of the matchups up to this point, I feel like painted Jogo as being a weaker character than he actually turned out to be. So by establishing that, no, this is a very powerful person, having that knowledge, then entering into this fight, and seeing Sukuna, by the end of it, actually come out with, honestly, it felt like a level of respect. I was not expecting to feel like this was almost like, you know those fights where you have like your hero and like their rival? Yeah, the rival may have made some bad choices, but there's that mutual respect in their dying moments. That's kind of the overall aura that this fight gave. But what we actually ended up having were two of the villains go at it, and somehow it emotionally moved me, blew me away visually, and just had me saying that was only just one of the amazing fights that was in this episode, but goddamn, this might be my new personal favorite JJK fight, but that's how you know this season's beyond a roll, because it just is only getting better. Full live reaction to today's insane episode over on my Patreon. If you would like to see that, it's over there if you're interested. Now, there's a lot happening this week. So we had father and son reunited, the self-sacrifice, so much to dive into there. I mean, the man hated bunnies though. At one point he grabbed him by the ears and he used it as like a whack-a-mole racket, and he was just like smacking all the other bunnies. Absolute savage. Jogo versus Sukuna, just pure heat, fire with fire, and then we even get some Panda content, and at first I thought they were also going to show that fight as well, because it kind of felt like it was going to be a 2v2, only to just have some of the best comedy that you could ask for. Seriously, when is the last time there's been such an intimidating opponent that they can pop up in the middle as you're trying to run from the supernova crashing down on you, and he says, I wouldn't do that. You take one move before I say anything, you're gonna die. And you have to really think about this. There's a giant fireball of death that should it hit you, you will be nothing. You will be burned alive and maybe have a couple of bones. Yet this man is so intimidating, so powerful, that it's basically like, oh, you gonna kill me? Sure, we will stand still, boss. And the idea of the slow, and they just bolt, it was like Looney Tunes, man. They were out of there. They were saying I was having none of that. Just absolute craziness. But like I said, the two big star attractions, father and son, and villains going ham. And we do gotta talk about villains going ham first. I mean, that is my favorite part of this episode, but we will talk about Megumi and Toji and everything that went on there as well. So in terms of pure spectacle, they delivered. We are crashing through. At one point, he grabs him and pretty much, I don't know, 100 stories? Who knows how tall that building was? But nonetheless, he forced him from the top all the way to the bottom, and just the combination, the effects, it was so good. And I like how it just continuously got bigger and bigger and bigger, but it never felt to the point that they were trying to necessarily one-up themselves, but more so it just got, as the heat was progressing and as the characters were warming up, I mean, he's losing arms left and right. At one point, his jaw's like barely attached, and he's not even breaking a sweat. But holy hell, to see the fire in the sky, and then to have like the death scene, like you knew it was a death scene, there was no way it wasn't. But the idea of seeing, because we have to remember that despite the shit they have done, from their point of view, these are family and friends and colleagues, right? So there is these emotional connections for some of them, right? And to see the respect at the end, I was not expecting that. But when you consider the fact that Sukuna is a very interesting character in the sense that he demands authority and obedience, right? You know, if you do things correctly and you ask the right things or you give the right things, there's potential that he will do something for you, which is why he basically said, land a punch on me me and I'll kill everyone in this goddamn city minus one, and that one being, well, the boy who was built different Megumi, who even Toji couldn't stop wanting to kill / wanting to kill himself when he realized that he was proud of his son. I love the fact that there was this moment of humanity in such a demonic moment, and I think it's such a complex feeling overall, and I'm excited but more terrified than anything to see what the hell Sukuna's gonna do, because this is just a small taste. Could you imagine Sukuna versus Geto? Can you imagine Sukuna versus anyone, any of these characters? But holy hell, man, if we actually could have something like this, felt like just a small portion of what a fight, a true fight with absolute beasts going at it could be, and it was incredible. But we also had the Megumi stuff, and so ultimately, after everyone kind of got burned, and he chose the next strongest opponent. And the idea that pretty much it goes about as well as you would expect. I mean, it's a lot of running for the hills, flying away, buzzsaws are being thrown at us. But ultimately, I think if Yuji's fight shown us anything, is that sometimes allowing yourself to be hurt or getting in close to your opponent sometimes will open up an opportunity for you to land in that sucker punch or maybe even the fatal blow. And our boy tries it, but unfortunately, it doesn't go completely according to plan. And I think what's so great about the death scene, right, is the fact that what we end up having is this flashback where he's considering, you know, the conversation about selling his son. And it's such an interesting one because even if you examine it as like, you know, you'd be better off, he'll be able to survive without me sort of a thing. Even if you twist it in some parental loving way, at the end of the day, he abandoned his son, right? And I mean, it's a very complex situation. I mean, he may have come back from getting the cigs from the supermarket, but at the same time, he ain't winning no Father of the Year awards. And even with the end, he isn't. But it's very interesting when he asks him, what's his name? And as he smiles, he's like, I'm not gonna fight you anymore. Like, it's just this element of being proud. And it's so interesting watching it be from, you know, asking his name and what he decided to go with, but most importantly, comparing where he left him to where he's leaving him now. It's a night and day difference, almost like, you know what, you really don't need me. And the fact that he's proud of where he is, and he's like, I'm not gonna hurt this person who surpassed all my expectations, sort of a thing. And it's a very interesting moment because it had some great animation as well. Really cool fights. I love the rabbits and the flying and the electricity. But at the end of the day, the thing that steals the show is the emotional. And surprisingly, the thing that also steals the show with the other fight was the emotional. And it's interesting how JJK kind of blends emotional with such well choreographed fighting, because I love the art direction. I love the almost Sunny Boy art direction style that they went for here. It's so expressive. Like at one point, Megumi kind of gets ripped, and just the way the body yanks, there's a lot of creativity. But most importantly, the choreography has never dipped. It is so good. It's not just characters randomly thrashing around. Like, it feels like someone who understands martial arts and is directing it as such. Like, these are the types of episodes that trend. These are the types of episodes that have people talking for weeks and potentially even get people to check out a show like Jujutsu Kaisen. Great emotion, great fights, great production. I love this episode. And I'm not saying this is going to be my favorite fight forever, but I mean, I really think as it stands, this might be my favorite, if not top 2, top 3. I don't know. I'd have to really think about it, but definitely going to be rewatching it. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more videos to the channel. Like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction over on my Patreon if you're interested. And hey, while you're there, you also get a video shout out. So today we have Moon Zero, Michael Habinson, Humanoid, Kyle Robb, Eggers TR, and Kageyama. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.